Yo, what's up, y'all? It's the kid George Getson. You now tuned to the cookbook. Time to cook up. Let's get it.
Wouldn't think the armor and the all together. Louis Summers with a Yankee on his sky dweller. Gamo built fly fella. They think all of mine's vanilla. 6 or 7 more flavors out in Vegas with weather.
Yeah, so we gonna do a full breakdown on how I produce They Talked About Jesus by G-Unit.
Talked about Jesus. I could care less about a rapper and his entourage. I don't give a about the venom. It's not in my garage. I need a beat, dog.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Some of my inspirations growing up were doing music. So many. Growing up, I was inspired by producers like Swiss Beats, The Neptunes, Pharrell, Timbaland, Bink, Just Blaze, DJ Scratch, Dr. Dre, of course Kanye West. Kanye West, big inspiration as well. I make probably about 5 to 10 beats a day. Around that. Yeah, 5 to 10 beats a day. I've been doing that since 2005. The software that I use Logic. But at the time when I made that beat, I used GarageBand. I was real heavy on GarageBand. Logic is like similar to GarageBand, but it's like GarageBand on steroids. It gives you much more plugins, much more tools to sample and chop up. There's much more features. I came across the sample by Wendy Renee. I hope I'm saying her name right. Wendy Renee. The song is called After Laughter Comes Tears. When I played the sample, I played the song. It sounded really familiar, you know, to the Wu-Tang Tears. When I was making this beat, when I heard that sample, I'm like, you know what? Let me try to challenge myself to make a beat with no percussions, just a kick and a snare. When I lined the sample up on my GarageBand, as soon as the record comes on, you hear that loop right there. The dun, 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 dun. So I chopped it right there. So I slowed it down like just a tad bit. It was a certain snare that I wanted. So basically, the snare, I don't know what day it was during the week, but I was listening to Don't You Know by Jay-Z, produced by Just Blaze. So here's a secret that I never even told. And shout out to Just Blaze. Hopefully you don't, try to get me for this, but I'm playing the record. It's like one of them, live kind of snares, like when you're playing the live drums and everything. So when I'm hearing the snare towards the end of the record, he left a little beat at the end of the record. So I'm listening to it, and what do you know? It was like a nice little clean pocket for the snare, just by itself, no sounds behind it or anything. So what I do? Chop it up, sliced it, ripped it, bounced it. Now I got my snare. Cause I only heard that kind of snare over that kind of sample. So now one thing with my EQs, I like all my beats to knock. Like I like bass.
Yeah. Talking big bang. When the belly's coming this way. Mid-main till them beats say.
Like my kicks gotta sound like somebody's trying to break out of your trunk, or like somebody's like, just banging on the door or something like that. If it ain't knocking like that, my is weak. That's just me. That's my style. I want my kick like really, really kick, so I'm EQing, playing with the EQs till I get the sound, till I get that knock that I'm trying to get from my kick. So wasn't too much EQing to the snares. All I did was add like a little reverb to the snares. So reverb, it gives you like that echoish kind of sound. It sounds like you in the hallway, or like in the big ass hallway, where it's just everything's just echoing off the walls. So that's how I want the snare to kind of sound, like more like real live and a little dusty, So I turned the highs up on the snares a little bit, just to give it that little distorted kind of sound, like purposely. When you EQing, you don't really put the highs too high, because when you playing your beat back, if it's in the green on the peak bar, I mean your volume is good. But if it peaks in the red, your shit is basically shitty. So for my snare, I wanted it to sound shitty, So I was listening to another Jay-Z record. It was actually a Memphis Bleak record. Shout out to Memphis Bleak. It was the It's Alright. Bounce if you want to bounce, ball if you want to ball, play if you want to play, floss if you want to floss. I listened to the beat and everything because I have recently found the sample, for that beat. It was a certain sound in the beat that I'm hearing over the loop that was used in the Memphis Bleak record. It was like this warp kind of rise kind of sound. It sounded like a spaceship was landing on, wherever, or a spaceship flying by some I use that, you know, throughout the beat as my little rising kind of sound throughout the beat. So that's pretty much the little bit of decoration I add on top of the beat before I, you know, finalized it. Somebody that was working for 50 at the time at the office, I'm on the phone with him and he's telling me like, hey, Lloyd Banks, Young Buck, and Tony Yayo just hopped on your beat. At the time, this is in 2014, so G-Unit had just reunited. So this record, They Talked About Jesus, was their first original release ever since reuniting. The A&R asked me like, yo, so 50 wanna get your approval to release the record. It's pretty much up to you. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, drop that shit right now, you know, like, drop that shit right now, right now. Shout out to 50 Cent, big shout out to 50, I salute you for that, you know. Shout out to Lloyd Banks, shout out to Young Buck, Tony Yayo, the whole G-Unit. I turn on Hot 97. I'm on my way to work. I'm listening to the radio. Funk Flex show comes on. You hear the bombs. Flex opened up the show playing that record. He brought it back a bunch of times. And I'm like, holy shit. Wow, this is major right here. It was just a great look overall, and I'm so grateful to this day. So what we gonna do now is do a full remake and breakdown on how I made They Talked About Jesus. So I'm gonna remake the beat right in front of y'all so y'all can see exactly what I used, how I chopped it up, how I sampled it, how I sequenced everything. We're gonna do it right now. Check me out.
Here is for all non-believers.
They talk,
Fuck it, they talked about Jesus.
still hate.
Yeah, they hated on Jesus.
The real way.
You know, they talked about Jesus.